Hello everyone, my name is Zane Parcel. This is my video submission for Module 5, Barriers to Web 2.0 for AEP 800, Innovative Technology. When I initially read the heading for this module, my first instinct, as I'm sure it was for many of us, was to think about the fact that we would be learning hurdles that would exist as a result of implementing technology into the classroom or into the school system. And I believe the four articles that I read do provide us with multiple different barriers to implement technology. What I also gained from the articles was that the authors gave us opportunities on how to improve those barriers that might exist. And so as a result, I did kind of create a table format, one side opportunities, one side hurdles, and really took into effect the ideas that I felt most resonated with me. So on the hurdle side, things that I read through the articles was the first one was the no vision. This really resonated with me simply because we previously did a module on creating our vision, and I believe the vision provides direction. And your vision should also include visions for multiple different things, not just for your overall school, but technology aspects as well. And so I believe that idea of creating a vision will guide you into the correct direction of how to do it effectively. One of the other hurdles that resonated with me was just access. A lot of my students, we are probably 90% free and reduced at my school. And so the access that students have is really limited based on family to family. However, I believe that a lot of our families are just really trying to get by, and having a computer at home and having the best internet capabilities is not really on the top of the list of things to do. Of course, I do believe that you they all have smartphones or phones of some kind, and I see if the child's lucky, they can also have a smartphone. So they are having some access to the World Wide Web to some extent, but maybe not to the extent that other students are getting. And so I felt like that was a hurdle, especially in my community itself. And then the other thing that kind of stuck out to me in the hurdle side was the excuses. The article talked about how teachers make excuses of not having enough time, not having enough resources. And I really do believe that it can be a pretty easy excuse. I've used it myself. But I think it comes down to you have to make time to, if you want to improve in any form or fashion in whatever you're doing, you have to make time. So along with those hurdles, like I mentioned, I felt like the article did provide some opportunities for implementing technology in innovative ways. So the first one I felt like was on key for me was the achievement gap. Being able to improve that achievement gap, lower that, make it so that our students are not as low as they are. Our students are not scoring the best at my school, and I think if we were to implement technology a little bit better, we could do such great things with our scores. The one article talked about open resources, and that was intriguing to me in the fact that our school is doing redesign, and so having resources available for teachers is such an awesome way for teachers to not have to look forever to find things. And so I think that's a great initiative to look into and explore. And then of course, with innovative technology, you're leading your students into the 21st century. Unfortunately, one of the things that the articles talked about was the fact that there's a digital divide. And alongside the digital divide, To answer the question, can it be resolved? I don't believe that we will ever be fully resolved in terms of the digital divide. I think we can make progress through the smartphones. I think they are capable of doing a lot of different things. Looking on the internet, weather, communication systems. I think those things will help us resolve some of the divide that's there, but I don't see it being the complete solution. I do believe that we could also, as teachers and then potential administrators, push towards a constructivist approach where we're trying to encourage critical thinking and problem solving with our students. I think if we can do that, our divide will lessen. Unfortunately, though, I think it just really depends on the community that you live in, the school district you're in, the socioeconomic of the families and the students that you have. That's going to limit the ability to fully resolve that issue. I think we're always going to have families that are on the poverty level, families in the middle class, and the access may not always be there. That is so important to fully break that divide that might exist. So no, I don't think it can be fully resolved, but I think we can do things to make it better. One of the things that I think we can do to make it better is to improve our 21st century skills. And so I kind of divided this list into technological and non-technological skills, simply because I felt that was important to do. So in regards to the technology skills that I believe are important is for students to know how to use technology to collaborate with others, how to be creative and innovative will also lead towards greater students that are doing things that we haven't even thought of yet. And it's amazing to know what advances technology has done with healthcare. And I think it's time we push that towards education and figure out how can education be built with greater creativity and innovation. And then I think we also need to have our students be aware of citizenship as well, so that they know how to be safe on the internet, how to avoid certain things, and to do what's best for their situation. On the other hand, non-technological skills I feel are also still important to incorporate into your academics. And I remember Dr. Watson, our Commissioner of Education, speaking one time, and he talked about how a business owner told him that he wanted students that would show up on time. And he told the story a couple times, and he shared the reasoning for wanting the on-time students. And I really felt like that was important to have. We need students that have good work ethics and have good communication skills. We need students that are going to be able to figure out and problem solve on their own or collaborate with others to figure it out together instead of just giving up. And so that kind of leads into motivation. We need students that are motivated in the skills that they are passionate about to fully be successful. Within the global economy itself, from my perspective, I feel like I am pretty tech savvy. I do use my smartphone every day. Social media, Twitter and Facebook, I'm pretty popular in terms of using those things. I like to follow on Twitter just different teachers and gather ideas from them. I also do have access at my own home with laptops, a Kindle, an iPad. So I have those things that a lot of households will hold within the global economy in regards to technology. In addition, I do like to watch my streaming videos, and I do like to use Siri a lot, or even my Amazon Echo does come in handy from time to time. And then, of course, my usage in the classroom is very similar in nature to a lot of these things, but it kind of goes into one of the next slides coming up on how I use that in the classroom. Some of the things that I would like to have a little bit more training on is Google Classroom. Just this week, I have been working with a co-teacher in third grade, and we've been writing a paper little paragraph on sequence of steps, and the students have been writing and editing, and now we're ready. I said I wanted to publish it, and so she's created a Google Classroom assignment and invited me into her classroom as a participant, and I thought I didn't even know you could do that. So I would love to know, what else could Google Classroom do for me and my students? Secondly, I'd like to know just my support on interactive whiteboard. It just kind of happened to appear in my classroom one day, and I needed that extra guidance as to how to use it. And in addition to that, I just want training on being able to figure out the basic troubleshooting. It just frustrates me from time to time when I go in to ask for help and the tech support comes in and they solve it within a minute. And I feel like I could have saved them the trouble if I just knew how to do that. Then the last bullet here on the administrative support, I put just simply because in terms of training, as a potential administrator, I really want to be able to know how I can support my teachers. And so I want training on how to do that and how to push my teachers to be innovative in the classroom. In regards to USD 480, we do have a lot of 21st century technology available to us. As you can see through the list, we've got some great positives. Every classroom does have each of those things: interactive whiteboards, projectors, and internet, Chromebooks. Of course, some of our newer schools that were just built within the last couple of years have more up-to-date status than others, but we have improved in the fact that most classrooms have a full cart of Chromebooks, and even us as resource teachers like myself have a supply that we are able to pull from. Some of the areas that I'd like to be able to improve on is having a Wi-Fi ability to where I can just access my own technology into the liberal Wi-Fi system and not have to work around it or get a password and stuff. And then I'd like to know a little bit more on what USD 480 has in regards to response systems and 3D printing and such. And in terms of innovative practices, there are some advantages and disadvantages to being innovative in the classroom. I feel if you're innovative, you're always trying to find the best trends and the best things to have in the classroom. So you're building your toolbox, and that's kind of why I added that picture. You're preparing your students to become better students in the future and preparing them for that 21st century that they are currently a part of. As part of an administrator role, I think that would help if you're innovative, cut down on textbook costs because you're able to utilize technology and utilize how to access your curriculum in different ways. As a disadvantage to innovative practices, I think being innovative puts you out there for vulnerability, putting your logins out there, your passwords. That could be detrimental to some people if it gets in the wrong hands. Cyberbullying is also out there, but I think another disadvantage, but also it could become an advantage, is it challenges your role as a teacher. You can initially may think technology is replacing you, but I think it can really push you to change your role to be a more proactive participant in your students' education. The last question dealt with cyberbullying and inappropriate use, and I have a personal story that's really just kind of limited the amount of cyberbullying that I've experienced. When I was going through high school, I forgot to log out of my computer, and somebody went to an inappropriate site, and I got called out into the hallway for it, and kind of got in trouble for it. So ever since then, I do my best to log out. My students are told to log out every time, even though they may forget. But my best struggle in the classroom is the fact that my students kind of change their personalization backgrounds to themselves, and I always like to try to make sure that's appropriate pictures. So also when thinking about cyberbullying and inappropriate use, I think about the TV show Catfish and how crazy that is and how some aspects of that show goes. So Technology is a great thing, and there come drawbacks to it as well as